This video discusses topics that are not at all suitable for children. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. It's been long established that Bobby Kotick, the CEO of Activision Blizzard and part-time Jabba the Hutt cosplayer, is scum, driven by money and share prices at the cost of employees and product quality. But it also appears that our boy was even more aware of the abuses taking place at his company than he initially let on. In fact, at one point he was even a perpetrator himself. So let's wade into this muddy puddle, shall we? The Wall Street Journal released an article a couple of days ago which details some additional allegations against Bobby Kotick and his just general misbehaviour over the years. We could start with a sort of a lowlights reel, if you like. Say in 2006, an assistant of Kotick's accused him of harassment, and he subsequently left a voicemail threatening to have her killed. Now, the spokesman has said that he acknowledges that he made a mistake there and did apologise for the incident. In 2007, barely a year later, a flight attendant on a jet that was co-owned by Bobby Kotick alleged that the pilot had been sexually harassing her, and she was subsequently fired. Now, Bobby denies that he was responsible for the firing, or that he told the flight attendant and her attorneys in a separate case about legal fees that "I'm going to destroy you," end quote. Both of these cases were, however, settled out of court, so make of that what you will. In more recent times, a female employee that was sexually assaulted in 2016 and 2017 by her supervisor reported these incidents to HR and to other supervisors and even the police, but it was only until a lawsuit was threatened by the attorney that anything was done to address these grievances. Bobby also settled this case too, but he didn't feel it necessary to mention anything about the actual allegation or the settlement to the board. And if you're wondering, the accused supervisor, who was dealt with internally of course, was accused by a second woman of sexual harassment later on. But it does appear that Dan Bunting is going to be the one that's going to get Bobby into the most trouble. Dan Bunting was alleged to have sexually harassed a female employee after a boozy night out in 2017. The HR department that, until recently has been notorious for just ignoring or dismissing employee claims of sexual harassment and abuse, even they recommended that this guy should be fired, but Bobby managed to heroically step in to keep him in a job. This Bunting has just coincidentally resigned, just after the Wall Street Journal article was published. Funny about that. But that's not the only revelation in this document. Remember that tone-deaf email that Fran Townsend sent that she got absolutely canned for? Well, it turns out that it was Bobby writing the email all of this time. And then, after it got a very negative reception, he had the absolute front to criticise the letter that he wrote as tone-deaf to the employees. So, Fran didn't even have time to see the wheels of the bus that she was thrown under. But I would emphasise, please do not feel sorry for Fran. She is despicable in other ways, and apparently that is a job requirement if you want to keep your job in management at Activision Blizzard. Talking of female executives, Jen O'Neill, the former co-lead of Blizzard Entertainment, who lasted for 3 months and then abruptly resigned, we've got a few more details now as to why she actually left the company. Not only did she write to HR, yes, that's HR, to decry the complete lack of faith that she had in Activision's leadership to correct the rotting structure of the company itself, she also said that she herself had been harassed in the past, and at this point had been tokenized, marginalized, and discriminated against, end quote. She was also paid less than her co-leader Blizzard Mike Ibarra, so, once again, this is not a good look for a company that is already neck-deep in trouble regarding the way that it treats women and their attitudes towards women in the workforce. Now, unsurprisingly, in the wake of all of this new information being released, the Better ABK movement initiated a staff walkout on November the 16th to protest Bobby Kotick still having a job at this point, and on the face of it, it is frankly astonishing that he hasn't resigned in the wake of these allegations. Because let's not also forget, he's been subpoenaed by the SEC regarding what he knew about sexual harassment allegations, many of which were covered in this very article. Then the investors are also suing because the workplace investigation that started the ball rolling back in July was never actually disclosed to shareholders, and also the board incidentally, which is an omission that might have affected the share price. And if you're wondering about the share price, it's gone from 96.57 on the 20th of May to 62.38 as of this recording, over 30% loss in the last 6 months. Not good. And, you know, this by all means isn't all of the bad publicity that's either generated or just associated with Mr. Kotick. Fellow tech leaders in the industry are re-evaluating their relationship with Activision Blizzard in the wake of this latest set of revelations, and the shareholders have, of course, called on Bobby to go immediately. Incredibly, though, in the face of all of these allegations, he still has some supporters, notably none other than the Activision Blizzard board. The statement basically said that they're still committed to the workplace goals of being a welcoming and inclusive company in the industry, even though at this point they're a laughingstock, and that under Bobby Kotick's leadership they are fully confident that they're going to achieve all of these goals and that they remain confident in his leadership. Really? Now, at first glance, it does seem extraordinary that any board would countenance keeping on a CEO covered in this much muck. But a Bloomberg article recently managed to clear the mystery up for all of us, revealing that the obviously male-dominated board had a history with Bobby going back at least 2 decades, and has been 2 decades of, let's face it, lots and lots of money. It is now a loyal cadre of little piggies that are happy to swim in the mud along with their main man. Unsurprisingly, such a statement has just increased pressure on themselves to justify their positions when they are so busy stoutly defending the indefensible in the form of Bobby Kotick. But they're by no means alone in this. Just today, this very day, it has emerged that some stunningly brave posters have anonymously just been asking questions in the latest Q&A session with Mike Ibarra. Questions that included: not sure zero tolerance policy is a good thing as we are humans that make mistakes. Not this many, mate. Not this many over a course of 20 years. Do we really want a police state type of working place? Which isn't even a sentence. Men are also being harassed and discriminated but being quiet about it. Who is speaking up for them? What happened to equality? Is it hijacked by women now? This, ladies and gentlemen, is what is called a straw man. You create an issue that doesn't exist and then argue against it. Nobody said that the Better ABK movement is just for women, it's for everyone inside the workplace. If it was hijacked by women, then it wouldn't be equality, would it? But of course, you know that. And my personal favourite: if Activision Blizzard King is such a bad place, why are people here? Isolated bad things should be sorted out, but overall we are at a company that cares for us. I mean, come on. So yeah, things are pretty bad, but you know, what can we do about it? Well, Change.org does have a petition running. It's been set up by a Better ABK, calling for the dismissal of Bobby Kotick. And yes, I've signed it, and you know, these things might make a difference or might not make a difference. It's worth putting your voice out there anyway, though, I feel. You can also support the Better ABK movement any way that you can on Twitter. And most importantly, but probably most painfully too, boycott Activision Blizzard products. It's obvious that, you know, money talks, and if they don't make as much money, their share price goes down, and then just maybe the CEO might be held accountable for his actions. Though I acknowledge that's very easy to say when you're not actually paying for any Activision Blizzard products yourself. Anyway, I think that's enough of this debacle for one day. Bobby Kotick's position is untenable, with a tenth of what has transpired since July, and yes, it's just been 5 months since the very first lawsuit was filed to the absolute nightmare that the place is today. So, you know, the company just won't be salvageable if they don't get rid of this crotch stain of a CEO, and it does sound like the board also needs a good clear out too. It's small wonder that, you know, Activision Blizzard King is so rotten from the inside out when people at the very top are just as culpable in many cases as the people who caused so much suffering over the years in the first place. By hiding and paying off and defending abuses is just unconscionable behaviour, and I think it's caught up with you. It's time to go, Bobby.